Well, thank you very much, Daniel, for the wonderful introduction. It's exactly the way I wrote it. Thank you very much, Dean Chuck Knott and the USC Price School of Public Policy for the wonderful partnership that we have. Thank you so much for everything that you do for us. You have been a real champion. And thank you to Conyers for such great leadership that you have shown for the USC Schwarzenegger Institute. Where's Conyers? Oh, right there. I just want to tell you, I'm proud of you. And I know that Barney will be very proud of all of the great things that you're doing. So thank you very much. And thank you to each and every one of you here for joining us here today. Today, we're kind of celebrating the victory that we had in the midterm elections. As you know, we won 4 states that came our way. After November 6th, 1/3 of all the congressional districts will no longer be drawn by politicians. And this didn't happen by itself. A lot of work went behind that. So I want to say thank you to the great reformers like Katie Fay in Michigan, Ken Thurdy in Colorado, Catherine Cantor in Utah, and then Sean Senka Nicholson in Missouri. And their teams, of course, who made 2018 a banner year for reform. So let's give them a big hand for the great work that they've done. But today is also a call to action, an opportunity, a chance to double down on our victories and keep pushing forward. In 2008, when California voters voted for redistricting reform and took the power of drawing the district lines away from the politicians, let me tell you something. It wasn't easy. And it definitely wasn't hip or sexy. I mean, there were moments where I felt like we were pushing an impossible weight up that giant mountain. And we fell back down several times. We lost several elections until we succeeded. When I talked about the benefits of terminating gerrymandering in the beginning, I felt the same way as I talked about the benefits of weight training and bodybuilding in the 60s and 70s. Where people just looked at you and said, what? What the hell is he talking about? I mean, at best, they got a blank stare. And at worst, people thought that I was a crazy freak. Just like my fitness crusade had a niche following of passionate advocates like Jack LaLanne and Joe Weider and the Muscle magazines, the fight for fair maps also had its allies, like Common Cause, the League of Women Voters, and the AARP. It was anything but mainstream, but that did not stop those of us who cared deeply about fair representation. In fact, we wouldn't shut up. We kept fighting, and we kept screaming, and we kept demanding attention. Today, we are at a tipping point. Voters around the country are more and more rejecting the 200-year-old scam of politicians drawing their own district lines. In boxing terms, gerrymandering is up against the ropes. In movie terms, they're dying at the box office. And I have to throw in also the bodybuilding terms, of course. They're losing their pump. We have pushed this weight up the mountain and we have reached the top. And we can finally see the possibilities ahead of us. We have mainstreamed the wonky technical subject of district reform and of district lines. Redistricting is finally sexy and hip. And I know this firsthand because the people today don't just come up to me anymore and talk about bodybuilding or about fitness and movies. They come up to me and they say, congratulations that you're involved in redistricting reform. And I love that you're trying to say hasta la vista to gerrymandering. So those are the kind of things that I get now. So people really know about gerrymandering and about redistricting reform. We have penetrated, we have reached the people. But we didn't get there just by talking. We didn't get there by just campaigning or complaining, I should say, about politics. We didn't get there by just sitting around on couches watching cable news and complaining, no. We got here because people got off their couches and decided to do something about it. That's why today We aren't just celebrating these great campaigners in Ohio and in Michigan and Missouri, Utah and Colorado who got up. Today, our goal is to inspire other hopeful souls around the country to rise up from their couches and to fight back. That is why we are launching today the Fair Maps Incubator. Now here in California, we are used to incubators cooking up wild business ideas and creating the Facebooks, the Ubers, and the Airbnbs that change the world. But this incubator that we are creating today is just as cutting edge and just as wild, but even more important, because this incubator will improve democracy, and this incubator will improve this country. People have lost faith in their government, and you cannot even blame them for that. I mean, for decades, we have heard about the issues Washington needs to urgently address, like our growing deficit and our debt, common sense immigration reform, our crumbling infrastructure, just to mention a few things. And for decades, nothing gets done. The people are sick and tired of this. That is why congressional approval rating today is at 18%. Now think about that. Congressional approval rating is at 18%. But despite the 18% of approval rating, 98% of the do-nothing Congress gets reelected every 2 years. It's wild. So the people became more and more frustrated. They decided that the system is fixed and there's nothing they can do about it. So they look for outsiders to save them. Outsiders like myself. That's how I got elected to become governor. Or like Trump or Ocasio-Cortez. People are looking for outsiders. But unless the outsiders are willing to take on gerrymandering and truly fight the establishment, the people will find no salvation. We must show the people that they have the power to save themselves. If they really want to drain the swamp, we will give them the tools. That's why today we have brought together reformers who have succeeded in saving the states from gerrymandering with reformers who want to create change in their own states. Through the Fair Map Incubator, we will share our initiatives, our strategies, and our implementation. We will share how to write an initiative, and how to gather the signatures, and how to raise the money, and how to overcome all of the obstacles that are about to come. And we also will show you how to create a commission that really works. We will create a one-stop shop for reform. We don't have to reinvent the wheel, of course. We can take the lessons and the resources from our growing list of victories and implement them for our next round of success. And I'm proud to say that 1/3 of our districts won't be drawn anymore by politicians. But, you know something? I'm always hungry for more. I want more. And I think all of you want more. The next lines, we should really pay attention to that, because the next lines will be drawn after the 2020 elections. By 2021, they will draw the lines again. So here's a window of opportunity for us to win a few more states over by the year 2020. So my team said that we should actually shoot for 50% of all the districts drawn by independent commissions. And I said to my team, why are you guys stopping there? I want us to terminate gerrymandering in 2/3 of all the congressional districts. Now, of course, I've always believed in setting goals really high. I always like to set goals so high that the naysayers always say it's impossible. But in my motivational speeches, I always tell people to ignore the naysayers, to set big goals and to have a big vision. I followed the Nelson Mandela philosophy. Yes, everything is always impossible until someone does it. Isn't it interesting? And they know that we will do it. With the great team that we have today and the fantastic energy in this room, we can do the impossible. We can inspire the country to rise up from their couches. And we can create an army to push this weight past the peak of this mountain. Let me tell you something. I love this country with all my heart. I think, without any doubt, it is the greatest and the best country in the world. And therefore, it is worth fighting for. So let's get started. Thank you very much. Thank you.